A once promising team facing an existential crisis. Imagine buying a ticket to a thrilling action movie, only to find the plot collapsing mid-film, characters going missing, and the hero visibly losing hope on screen. That's where the Miami Dolphins find themselves in the 2025 NFL season. A franchise with high expectations, one big move after another, but now staring into a mirror of self-inflicted damage and dwindling hope. 1. Disastrous latest performance. On Thursday Night Football, the Dolphins were walloped 28-6 at home by the Baltimore Ravens, in a game that served as a microcosm of their problems. Reuters. +2. PFF. +2. Ravens QB Lamar Jackson returned from a hamstring injury and threw 4 touchdowns, completing 18 of 23 passes for 204 yards and a 143.2 passer rating. Reuters. +1. The Dolphins' offense managed only 2 field goals. They failed to score a touchdown despite multiple red zone opportunities. Reuters. Numerous self-inflicted wounds, turnovers, penalties, bad situational execution. One article called it another shocker for a team sliding fast. HindustanTimes.com. +1. The loss dropped the team's record to 2-7 and raised serious doubts about the trajectory of the season. New York Post. +1. 2. Fractures showing in the coaching staff and culture. A big part of the concern. The head coach's job appears to be in serious jeopardy. ESPN.com. +1. Head coach Mike McDaniel was seen visibly losing his temper on the sideline during the loss to the Ravens. Reports indicate he had an outburst over penalties, missed kicks, and poor execution. New York Post. +1. Fans and media are openly questioning whether McDaniel and his staff still have the locker room's confidence. One piece declared his job firmly up in the air. HindustanTimes.com. A sideline altercation involving the running backs coach Eric Studsville and rookie RB Ollie Gordon II added to the sense of internal chaos. The Sun. The culture of accountability appears fragmented. Blame is being directed both internally and externally, e.g., quarterback comments about crowd noise, which rarely bodes well for unity. TalkSport. +1. 3. Key players and personnel setbacks. The Dolphins roster, once billed as potent, now shows gaping vulnerabilities. Star wide receiver Tyreek Hill appears likely done for the season after a severe knee injury, including dislocated knee and torn ligaments. His absence deprives the Dolphins of explosive plays and a vital offensive dimension. The Times of India. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa remains on the roster with a significant contract, yet his performance is under increasing scrutiny. One article argued he is average and the Dolphins can't hide it anymore. Fin Fanatic. Roster moves point to instability. The team activated CB Jason Marshall Jr. off injured reserve and elevated CB Isaiah Johnson and T. Hayden Rucci for the Ravens game. But such shuffling suggests depth issues. Yard Barker. +1. 4. Trade deadline and roster strategy loom large. With the trade deadline on November 4th, the Dolphins face crucial strategic decisions: buy to salvage or sell to rebuild. D. Jalon Phillips said he would love to stay, despite trade rumors circulating around his future and that of other pass rushers like Bradley Chubb. Yahoo Sports. +1. Analysts suggest Miami is not expected to be major sellers, but the roster's current state makes status quo risk high. The Finsider. 5. What's gone wrong? Themes emerging. Several overlapping issues are dragging the team down. Self-inflicted errors, penalties, turnovers, failed fourth downs, poor situational execution. The Ravens game was rife with them. New York Post. +1. Injuries and absence of playmakers. Losing Tyreek Hill, depth issues at cornerback, struggling offensive line, all amplify the challenge. Quarterback and offensive limitations. Tagovailoa is skilled, but criticisms focus on his inability to elevate play and the offense's inability to compensate for mistakes. Fin Fanatic. +1. Coaching and culture. The meltdown on the sideline, public calls for changes, and reports of morale issues suggest deeper systemic problems. The Sun. +1. Divisional context. The Dolphins play in the NFL's AFC East, a particularly competitive division. With 2-7 and mounting losses, making the playoffs becomes a steep climb. 6. The near-term path and stakes. What happens next will matter enormously. The next few games provide no easy outs. Games like at home versus the Buffalo Bills loom, and back-to-back losses will raise alarms further. Talksport. The trade deadline decisions could define whether this season becomes a bridge to something else or the beginning of a teardown. If McDaniel is fired or changes are made mid-season, the team's identity shifts entirely, from contenders to retoolers. Fan patience is waning rapidly. The public outcry after the sideline incident shows that the blind faith many had is evaporating. The Sun, +1.7. Why this matters beyond Miami. For national viewers and league watchers, the Dolphins serve as a cautionary tale. How quickly a team with high expectations can unravel. The ripple effects, the standings in the AFC, draft positioning for the future, and the organizational credibility of the franchise all hang in the balance. It highlights how important culture, leadership, and execution are, not just star talent and big contracts. 8. 5 big questions going forward. Does Mike McDaniel survive the season? His job appears to be on the line. Will the Dolphins trade key assets or hold on to their core? The decisions here could set the tone for the next several years. Can the offense regain stability and become less error-prone? If self-inflicted wounds continue, even a talented roster won't win. How will the team respond internally? Will the roster rally around leadership, or will fractures deepen? What is the long-term plan? Are the Dolphins still thinking this year, or shifting toward future seasons?